Okay. Preparing to live stream the meeting. Okay, great. We are live. Yes. So, good evening again. And let's start with this session, Ganpati Bappa Moria. Uh, yes, recording is on now. Recording is on, and we are also live on YouTube. Thank you for reminder. Okay. Yeah. As I was saying, I believe in this God, Ganpati Bappa, and pehle session se we have been saying this whenever we are starting because it's a new start of the. It was new start of the CKAD series, and I believe that this is just a starting only. Many of you are going to be certified soon for the Kubernetes application development. And yeah, this is going to be a rock solid journey. This has been a wonderful journey for me as a tutor. And I have seen many of you have regularly attended all the sessions. कभी कभी हमने दो से भी ज़्यादा सेशन लिया है यहाँ पे. And I enjoyed it all those 2 hours. And I think yesterday also we had 3 hours plus session. It was amazing. I also learned a lot of things about the Kubernetes. As I said earlier, Kubernetes is a field where you will not find anything boring. जितना आप उस फील्ड में जाओगे DevOps और Kubernetes, उतना ही आप you will fall in love with the DevOps technology. And it's booming. There is something new, or there is something special about this DevOps and the Kubernetes. You'll find always to try out different things. And CKD जो जर्नी था, क्या as मैंने मेरा एक्सपीरियंस शेयर कर दिया था. आई लव दिस एंटायर जर्नी. जो भी हमने अभी 16 डेज में जो भी सीखा है, दिस इज द 16 डे. एंड it's wonderful. um, how is your experience attending all these live session? In the beginning, I said I want you guys to be certified for all Kubernetes, all 4 Kubernetes certifications. And this was the first certifications which we targeted, certified Kubernetes application developer. I've mentioned this lot many times in previous sessions as well. Kubernetes का जो भी certifications है ना, 4 certifications, they have lot of value. And people don't realize कि AWS certification, yeah, it's good कि बाकी की certification तो cloud certification, that's a different part. Those are MCQ based and people give those certifications. बहुत ज़्यादा लोग मिलेंगे आपको. बट Kubernetes जो हैंड्स ऑन सर्टिफिकेशन है ना, वो करने वाले बहुत कम लोग मिलेंगे आपको, बिकॉज इट इज टफ. CKD, CK certifications, these are not easy certifications, or because of the level of the questions, difficulty level of the questions, and also the preparation it needs for you, and the time they gives, and the yeah, it's wonderful. मतलब उन्होंने बहुत अच्छे से डिजाइन किया है. And that's why I have completed all 4 certifications, and I want you guys to be certified as well. Next certification कौन सा है? We'll decide that based on the response for this one, right? Okay. And yes, Kallan is sharing his experience. It was amazing. I had learned a lot and inspired by your support. Yes, you guys also inspires me at the same time, because जो लोग daily attend करते session, हर session आप लोगों ने attend किया, and I feel um, that is very required. As a tutor, that was very required. That few people have joined all the live sessions. They have been there while debugging. Debugging is most वंडरफुल पार्ट जो आपको मास्टरी करना होगा इफ यू वांट टू गो इनटू DevOps field. Um, yes, Mehdi is also sharing his experience. After so many years, he is now active learner due to CKD series, and my training and motivation helped me. Same feeling, same. I also think the same way. Mehdi and lot many people, Kallan and I think Vikash. बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो डेली अटेंड करते हैं सेशन एंड यू गाइस मोटिवेट मी to have all these sessions regularly. Naga is asking, does CKS has overlap with CKAD? What are special things in CKS covers? CKS, as name specifies, CKS is more about the security of the Kubernetes infra and the resources. So CKAD is different. You can check the syllabus as well for CKAD and CKS. दोनों अलग चीज है. We don't focus much on the security side in the CKD, but CKS में वो बहुत ज़्यादा important हो जाता है. Security of every component which we have in the Kubernetes and which we use in the Kubernetes. Okay. Yes. And you should try for all the certifications CKAD and CKS, KCNA, KCA से भी आएगा कुछ टाइम बाद तो वो भी ट्राई करो. चार पांच पांच सर्टिफिकेशंस होने वाले Kubernetes के. Ajay is also sharing his experience. For him, it's been game-changing series and learned a lot. Got a good mentor for me. Okay, nice. That's a good compliment. And yes, yes, you guys have been wonderful support throughout the journey. Okay, and yeah, thank you. So let's start. I have picked a few questions for the this security practice session. We are going to practice a few more problems, and बाकी के जो questions रहेंगे that I have put into PPT, so you can check out the PPT and try out later as well. And yes, so हमने बाकी के सारे तो concepts cover कर लिए already. If you face any difficulty while solving those questions, so just reach out on the group and we will practice. I have prepared a sheet of questions which I'll share on the group or GitHub पे डाल दूंगा, where you can see the questions and the solutions as well for practice. It's not the exact questions which we are going to have in our exam, real exam. ऐसे नहीं है बट सिमिलर क्वेश्चंस या फिर कोई रिलेटेड इफ यू आर एबल टू सॉल्व दिस काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चंस तो आपको थोड़ा इजी जाएगा एग्जाम देना. So that's the motive of having this two session for the practicing security questions. Okay, let's begin then. I'll stop my video तो थोड़ा हमें इंटरनेट बैंडविड्थ अच्छा मिलेगा. Okay, so let me start sharing my screen. Any doubts from yesterday's session? Do you have any queries like ये वाला concept नहीं समझ में आया? Just drop those questions in chat. And yes, please practice a lot for CKD or any Kubernetes exam because exam तभी आपको easy जाएगा when you have very good experience, hands-on experience है आपके पास and when you have a speed as well. Speed बहुत matter करता है Kubernetes exam में. आपको सब कुछ answer पता होगा but you will not be able to solve those questions just because you run out of the time. तो ये सारी चीजें तभी आपको समझ में आएंगी when you are very familiar with when you are very familiar with Kubernetes documentation and when which part you need to pick up or which component you need to use for that question. So ये सारी चीजें बहुत मैटर करेगी. So I'm going to share some of the tips throughout the session जो आपको help करेगा. That this is one of the tips which is going to help you for your Kubernetes exam. Labels and selectors didn't get sir. Okay, Ajay. That question we are going to solve today. Label and selector. I think we did not solve yesterday because of the time. Okay. Are you guys able to see my screen? Screen दिख रहा है मेरा? Okay, great. So today's question is informal volumes. Do you guys remember कि informal volumes क्या होता है? Yeah, it's for persistent storage, but informal volume are little different. वो तब तक attach होते हैं and store the data persistent, or it is mostly for sharing the data between containers of the same pod, right? So the question is, they are asking us to create a pod. We are going to divide this. So they are asking us to create a pod named Nginx in the namespace H92. Its container should run the container image Nginx 126. And they are asking us to create three volumes of type empty directory. तीनों वॉल्यूम का टाइप है empty directory. एंड वॉल्यूम का नाम अलग है, nginx run, cache, nginx data, एंड दे हैव आल्सो गिवन अस अ पाथ कि कौन से पाथ पे कंटेनर के अंदर इसको माउंट करना है. दिस वी नो कि ये क्या है, राइट? सो वी आर गोइंग टू सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन. ओके, so first thing first, we can take a help from documentation. Kubernetes doc. इसका एक्सेस होगा आपको ड्यूरिंग योर एग्जाम, सो मेक श्योर यू आर यूजिंग इट. एंड लेट्स सर्च फॉर द मेन कीवर्ड्स लाइक mtdir. उन्होंने बोला है कि mtdir यूज करो. ओके, सो लेट्स यूज इट. वॉल्यूम्स, ये वॉल्यूम यूज करना है हमें, राइट? And let's take help from here. If we get the exact help here, तो फिर यूज करते हैं ये वाला सेशन. Otherwise we will change the few things based on our need. Okay, so I'm going to copy this example, going into my this here Visual Studio Code, and we'll create one new folder for solving this question. Okay, question 11. Actually, we solved a lot many questions, I think, but let's go with this. Okay, I'll change the name of this question 11 to question क्या करना है हमें, informal volume. तो informal volume करके नाम देता हूँ इसको, and let's solve it. Oh, sorry. I have a cat in my home, and it's disturbing me. I want to show you this. I'm not sure. Just a moment. She is sitting behind me. वो मेरे कंधे पे चढ़ गई थी. ओके, सो थोड़ा आज डिस्टर्बेंस है हमारे लिए. हर बार हमें कुछ इंटरनेट का इशू होता है. आज इंटरनेट या फिर जूम का इशू होता है. आज शी इज हियर, स्वीट कैट. ओके, ओके, बैक टू द क्वेश्चन. हम यहाँ पे एक पॉड का फाइल बनाने वाले हैं. And okay, let's save this file and we will open this. Come here, pod.yaml. इसको कॉपी कर लेते हैं and पिक करते कि इन्होंने नाम क्या बोला है. पॉड का नाम they have asked us to use the nginx name. Okay, nginx, and they also specified कि इसको you need to use the namespace. क्या namespace है? H92. तो सेम namespace आपको यूज करना पड़ेगा. एंड बाय डिफॉल्ट आपको पता है कौन सा नेमस्पेस यूज करेगा इफ यू डोंट स्पेसिफाई द नेमस्पेस. इफ यू डोंट स्पेसिफाई द नेमस्पेस, ये कौन सा नेमस्पेस यूज करता है? लेट मी सी कि किसी ने या डिफॉल्ट नेमस्पेस होता है. सो मेक श्योर अगर क्वेश्चन में आपको नेमस्पेस दिया है सो यू यूज दैट नेमस्पेस. ओके, अदरवाइज आपको 0 मार्क्स मिलेंगे. एंड कंटेनर का इमेज दिया है इन्होंने nginx 121.6, तो उसी इमेज को यूज करेंगे हम. nginx 1.21.6, राइट, 121.6. And after that they have said to create 3 volumes create करना है nginx run, cache and data. तो वॉल्यूम क्रिएट करते पहले nginx run, or they have not specified anything, so we will use the empty dictionary here. Similarly, you need to create 3 more volumes: nginx run, nginx data and nginx caching. 3 वॉल्यूम्स बन गए, इनको माउंट भी करना है आपको. सो nginx run जो है उसको माउंट करने के लिए उन्होंने एक पाथ दिया है. सो वी विल माउंट दिस टू दैट पाथ. nginx run वॉल्यूम को var run पे माउंट करना है. var run. सेकेंड जो वॉल्यूम है nginx data, उसको कहाँ पे माउंट करना है वो भी दिया है उन्होंने. var cache user local nginx, usr local nginx. And the third one they want us nginx cache to be mounted at var cache nginx. तो यही नाम देते हैं, var cache nginx. Okay, that is the answer for this question. इसको चला के देखते हैं and then only we will know if it is working or not. kubectl apply -f for.yaml. ये क्या बोल रहे हैं, इसने एरर दिया that the namespace is not found. हमारे एनवायरनमेंट में नेमस्पेस नहीं है. सो लेट्स क्रिएट द नेमस्पेस फर्स्ट. kubectl create ns h92 और in this one we will create our pod. बन गया pod. Let's verify also. जब भी आप क्वेश्चन सॉल्व करोगे तो मेक श्योर यू वेरीफाई दैट. ओके, गेट pods in h92 नेमस्पेस. कंटेनर बन रहा है, इसको थोड़ा टाइम लगेगा, टाइम दे दो. And once the container is up, it will show running status, and if it is running, which means our pod is working fine. We can check description h92. Okay. Started container, container ban gaya, and you in description you can see the volumes it has mounted. First one is nginx run, nginx data, and then nginx cache. And here also you can see where it is mounted, which means we have solved this question correctly. Okay, our pod is also in running state. This is the answer for this question. आपको हर बार verify करना है. Line number 14 and 16 same. Let me check कि line number 14 क्या है. Oh, correct. आपको नाम करेक्ट देना पड़ेगा, राइट. nginx cache. Here these are the silly mistakes हम कॉपी पेस्ट करते टाइम भूल सकते हैं. एंड ये आपको प्रॉपरली वेरीफाई करना है जब भी आप एग्जाम में करोगे. ओके, दिस डोंट अलाउ अस टू मॉडिफाई द अटैच्ड माउंट, तो आपको ये फिर से डिलीट करना पड़ेगा. kubectl delete -f for.yaml और फिर से कंटेनर बनाते. pod created. हर एक चीज आपको चेक करना, वेरीफाई करना है कि नाम करेक्ट है कि नहीं, पाथ करेक्ट है कि नहीं. nginx run Nginx data and cache are created and where it is mounted वो भी check करो. Nginx run बोला है कि var run को mount करना है. Nginx cache should be mounted here and Nginx data should be mounted here. So this is our correct answer now. Thank you for correcting Pranjal. Vineet is asking, should we know JSON path for the exam? I have read that they asked to print custom data in exam. Uh, yeah, you can learn about the JQ, but I would say that's not needed. The question will be like print the IP address of the pod, which you can easily get by doing a description and get the pod. That will be a quicker solution. Like if they ask me to get the IP address of this one, I will do something like grep hyphen I and IP. Okay, IP करूँगा. So here also you can get the IP address. You don't need to know the JQ for it. Clear? Yeah, it's good to know JQ for if you are only preparing for CKAD exam, then it's not that much needed. I'll share JQ cheat sheet and you can try it out. Okay. So let's move for the next question. Resource quota and limit range पे एक question आता है. So we are going to see ये क्या होता है. Okay, Kubernetes resource quota. When several users or teams share a cluster with fixed number of nodes, there is a concern that one team could use more than its fair share of resources. So resource quota defined by resource quota object provides a constraint that limit aggregate resource consumption per namespace. And resource quota work like this. Different teams work in different namespace. This can be enforced with RBAC. The admin creates one resource quota for each namespace. So the basic thing is which you can apply some restrictions for the particular namespace, how much CPU or the memory should be used by that namespace. जैसे हमने बहुत बार डिस्कशन किया कि we can have a separate namespace for each team. We can assign the rules, apply the rules and rule bindings for that particular namespace for the users, and we can. This is one more resource which can help you to define the how much CPU or the memory should be used by particular namespace. Okay. So इससे क्या होगा कि हर टीम को एक restriction आ जाएगा that they should have the resources, uh, use the resources or create the resources in that particular instance considering the CPU and memory, and it will not affect to the entire cluster. Okay. Okay, and yeah, here you can see the common resource types which we have. You can set the limit for the CPU, and you can also set the request for CPU, and for memory as well. You can set huge pages. You can set same as request CPU. This is same as request CPU and the memory, but these yeah, ये चार जो parameters है, these are very much required for us. So request and limit में क्या difference है that we are going to cover in some time. Okay. Okay. And there are so many things. So we are going to check the question इन्होंने क्या बोला है हमें. So they are asking us to create a hello world pod running with this image. It should expose on this port. We need to create a volume, empty directory volume. It should mount to this. मतलब आप देखोगे कि जो पहले वाला क्वेश्चन था ये सेम क्वेश्चन है, एंड उसके ऊपर भी इन्होंने एडिशनल चीजें बनाने के लिए बोला है. So for the container, specify the following minimum number of resources and maximum number of resources. Okay, CPU का इन्होंने दिया है मिनिमम नंबर कितना होना चाहिए मेमोरी, इफरमन स्टोरेज, एंड मतलब रिसोर्स कोटा कितना हमें ऐड करना है. Okay, and then create a pod, inspect the pod details and everything. So we are going to create a resource quota and create this pod inside that namespace. Okay. Resource quota का file they might give you already, or if not, they will ask you to change that file. But if they are not giving us, then we will need to create it. Okay. So what we'll do, we will create this namespace first. If they have given us a namespace to use, then we will create it. Let's see if they have given it. Um, there is no namespace defined. Request. No, there is no namespace defined here. So we can use the default namespace and set the resource quota on the default namespace. Okay. Ideally, they give resource quota file, but let me check. If they don't have it, we'll create it. So what we are going to do, we are going to copy one file from here, resource quota file, CPU memory limitation, क्या दिया है इन्होंने? For the container, specify the following number of resources as follows: 100 MB CPU and the memory, and 1 GB of this. And also for the container, specify the following number of following maximum number of resources which we need to use. Okay, मतलब memory के लिए दिया है and CPU के लिए दिया है. Okay, just 1 second. ओके, सो फर्स्ट थिंग फर्स्ट, हम क्या करते हैं, एक तो इसको क्लियर कर लेते हैं. लेट्स क्रिएट वन मोर फोल्डर फॉर सॉल्विंग दिस क्वेश्चन. mkdir question 12 रिसोर्स कोटा, इसके अंदर जाते हैं एंड लेट्स सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन देयर. Now you know how to create the file. What I'll do, I'll quickly copy this file here, and we will do few changes here in this file, previous file. So we need to change the name of the pod, which is hello world. Hello world, correct. And then image name थोड़ा अलग है, BMUSCHOKO, तो उसको यूज करना है, BMUSCHKO, Node.js hello world :1.0.0. Okay. And they also want us to expose this. कल हमने ये expose वाला port expose का देखा था. So add the new section called ports here. Ports का port का नाम दिया है, exposes port. No, there is no name of the port. So we will simply specify the container port for here. Container port 3000 पे expose कर देते हैं. उसके बाद they have asked us to create an empty directory volume and mount it at var log. इसको ही चेंज करते हैं, var log बना देते हैं. Right? And we can give some random name here called hello world volume. Okay, hello world volume. And ये सारी चीजें रिक्वायर्ड नहीं है बिकॉज एक ही वॉल्यूम बनाने के लिए बोला. एंड रिमूव दिस वन. सो वॉल्यूम का नाम मैच करना चाहिए ऊपर, सेम एज दिस वन. तो इसको कॉपी कर लेते हैं एंड पेस्ट. लेट्स पेस्ट इट हियर. So this good. So what we are going to do, let's create this first. इतना टेस्ट करके देखते हैं कि ये प्रॉपर चलता है कि नहीं pod, correct. And then we will add the limits and requests. kubectl get pods, no resources. I think we did not remove the namespace, so इसको हटा देते हैं because they are not specified any namespace. We'll need to create this pod again here in the default namespace. And here our pod is running, hello world pod is running. Verify कर लेते हैं whether we have mounted this empty directory volume inside this pod or not. Okay. So जो उन्होंने बोला है empty directory volume को mount करना है on this varlog path, तो it's done, and we have also used the correct image and the pod name. इतना question हमें बोला था उन्होंने, that's we have solved. Okay. What they are saying, इसके बाद बोल रहे that you need to create a container specifying the following minimum number of resources and maximum number of resources. तो इसमें limit ranges होता है that we are going to see कि इसको, yeah, this is at an MSpace level, but they are not asking us to set the limit ranges and the resource quota at an MSpace level. What they are asking us to set these limits and the request and the limits at the pod level. मतलब ऐसे कुछ करने के लिए बोल रहे हैं. Okay. Pod limits. कुछ चीजें आपको याद रखनी पड़ेगी. Pod limits कैसे सेट करते हैं and request कैसे सेट करते हैं. So there is concept called resource management for pods and containers. When you specify a pod, you can optionally specify how much each resource a container needs. Okay, which means you can specify a CPU and memory, and there are others also. And how you can specify it using a request and limits. मतलब आपका जो pod है and जो भी उसके अंदर container run होने वाले, for those containers, you can specify the amount of CPU and the memory they should use. Okay. If the node where a pod is running has enough of resources available, it's possible for a container to use more resources than its request for that resource specifies. However, a container is not allowed to use more than its resource limit. मतलब ये क्या बोल रहे हैं that जो हमें request भेजना है, मतलब minimum number of resources which we need to assign is going to be a part of request, and it should not exceed maximum जो लिमिट दिया है उन्होंने, दैट इज अ लिमिट. मतलब उसके ऊपर पॉड का यूसेज, पॉड का सीपी यूसेज या मेमोरी यूसेज नहीं जाना चाहिए. फॉर दैट वी नीड टू सेट अ लिमिट, and this is not for CKAD only. Yeah, this is very helpful in case of having your application running inside a pod in Kubernetes cluster. इससे क्या होता है दैट यू कैन स्पेसिफाई कि उस एप्लीकेशन को लिमिट कर देते हो कि इससे ज्यादा वी कांट अलाउ टू यूज द सीपीयू और द मेमोरी. ओके, सो लेट्स चेक दिस वन कि पॉड के लिए सीपीयू एंड मेमोरी का रिक्वेस्ट एंड लिमिट्स कैसे सेट कर दे. सो वी आर गोइंग टू कॉपी दिस पार्ट एंड ऐड दिस हियर. ओके, सो दिस शुड बी पार्ट ऑफ द कंटेनर. तो कंटेनर के अंदर डाल देते हैं इसको. Resources का एक section आएगा, and here we can specify the request, which is a minimum number of CPU and memory our container should have, and maximum can be defined using the limits. Okay, तो change करते कि minimum क्या बोला, minimum 100 M CPU and memory 500 MB. CPU is 100 M and memory is 500 MB. लिमिट्स भी उन्होंने दिया है कि मैक्सिमम कितना यूज कर सकते हो आप. मैक्सिमम इज 500 MB एंड इफर्मल स्टोरेज भी दिया है दैट. ओके, इफर्मल स्टोरेज भी दिया है, सो इफर्मल स्टोरेज ऐड कर देते हैं यहाँ पे. इफर्मल इफेमेरल स्टोरेज 1 दिया है, एंड मैक्सिमम लिमिट दिया है फॉर ओनली फॉर मेमोरी. कितना दिया है, इट्स अ 500 MB. इसके ऊपर दिस कंटेनर कांट एक्सेस मोर मेमोरी ऑन टॉप ऑफ दिस. ओके, सीपीयू का लिमिट नहीं दिया है, सो विल लीव इट, बट इफेमेरल स्टोरेज का लिमिट दिया है. वॉल्यूम कितना यूज कर सकते हैं. ओके, इट्स अ 2 दिया है, मैक्सिमम 2 GI यूज कर सकते हैं स्टोरेज. सो लेट्स क्रिएट इट अगेन. ओके सो ये रिक्वेस्ट वाला चेंज करने के लिए अलाउड नहीं है. वी कांट अपडेट द ऑलरेडी रनिंग पॉड. तो वी विल डिलीट इट. kubectl delete pod hyphen f pod.yaml. kubectl delete hyphen f pod.yaml because we are passing a file ना, तो resource specify करने का जरूरत नहीं है. And let's create it. सो रिक्वेस्ट और लिमिट में आपको डिफरेंस समझ में आ गया होगा. दैट मैक्सिमम सॉरी मिनिमम कितना सीपीयू और मेमोरी आपको अलोकेट करना है फॉर द कंटेनर व्हिच इज रनिंग इनसाइड अ pod दैट यू कैन डिफाइन यूजिंग अ रिक्वेस्ट. एंड मैक्सिमम कितना आपको अलाउड करना है फॉर दैट कंटेनर वो आप दैट यू कैन स्पेसिफाई यूजिंग अ लिमिट्स. And why this is required? Because pod yeah, if you don't specify it, तो by default एक तो range set हो जाता है for every pod and it should be given somewhere here. Okay, one CPU core and find it here. Kubernetes doesn't allow you to specify resources with precision finer than 1 IM. By default range एक set होता है which is request 0.5 CPU half core. It's set for the CPU usage and I think MI के लिए 500 MI या फिर 100 MI कुछ range set होता है. Yeah, and this is a perfect example they have given here. Why do we need this request and limit? If the node where a pod is running has enough of resources available, it's possible for a container to use more resources than its request for that resource specified. However, a container is not allowed to use more than its resource limit. And for example, if you set a memory request of 256 MI for a container, and that container is in pod scheduled to a node where with 8 gigabyte of memory and no other pods, then the container can try to use more RAM. And कब तक यूज कर सकता है? As much as the limit is not hitting. Limit तक this pod can use, but after that it will not allow. Kubernetes will not allow it. Mm, okay. That's a solution for this one. हमें pod के लिए request और limit set करना था and I think our pod is running now. kubectl get pods करके देखते हैं. Yes, our pod hello world is running. इन्होंने क्या क्वेश्चन दिया था ना? Hello world दिया था. Okay, perfect. So let's verify kubectl describe pod. This pod के लिए resource request and limit set हुए थे. Yeah, it has set. This is a answer for our question. Let me see if you guys have any questions here. Resource quota you set at an FS level, and this request limit and this thing resource request and the limits you set at a container level. Yes, correct. That's a perfect yes. तो मिनिमम और मैक्सिमम आप तभी डिफाइन कर पाओगे व्हेन यू एक्चुअली नो हाउ मच सीपीयू एंड द मेमोरी रिक्वायर्ड फॉर योर एप्लीकेशन इन क्यूबरनेटिस. ओके, सो आपको ये पहले प्रॉपर टेस्टिंग करना रहता है योर एप्लीकेशन एंड देन ओनली यू कैन सेट. बट दिस अ वेरी गुड प्रैक्टिस if you ask me, and for every production application we specify the CPU and memory request and limits. If we don't specify तो क्या होगा कि just in case some pod will use more than required memory and it will affect the entire Kubernetes cluster. बाकी के pod पे बहुत affect करेगा. That's why we need to restrict it using more than memory it requires. Okay. So this limit range wala example is similar. They have given us. So I'll skip this because we have solved one question, similar question. Yeah, you can see they are asking us to create a namespace and then set a request of this 400 MI and limits to zero point 0.1 for CPU. And similarly, um, और एक पॉड बनाना है उसका भी सीपीयू रिक्वेस्ट एंड लिमिट सेट करना है सो दिस इज अ सिमिलर वन आपको इफ यू आर अंडरस्टूड दिस वन इसमें हमने एक ही कंटेनर बनाया था हियर दे आर आस्किंग अस टू क्रिएट two different pods create a pod this one and this one it's a very easy one Anu. Can we change the request and limit during pod runtime? Definitely not because we just tried it, right? We created a pod first, and when we applied the changes, it didn't allow us to update the changes. It's not allowed. So you'll need to stop it and then apply the changes. Okay. Okay. So yeah, this is a easy one. So instead of this solving this question, I'm moving for the next one. Let's see security context क्या होता है Kubernetes में. Define the names busybox security context. They have given us these images to be used for a pod and this command to be used. Add a formal volume type empty directory. आप देखोगे कि empty directory का question है again. And they have asked us to use the user ID 1000, group ID 3000, system group ID 2000. Ensure that container should not allow privilege escalation, and yeah, that's their requirement. So let's check the security context क्या होता है first. Okay. So why do we need a security context? We can define the privilege and the access control setting for a pod or a container. You can specify with which user your container should start. You can specify which group should this container be part of, and you can specify the capabilities कि इस container को किस level का क्या access होना चाहिए on your host machine या फिर उस Kubernetes environment में क्या level का access होना चाहिए. So that thing you can specify using a security context. And we already have the example here. हमें एक sample यहाँ पे दिया है. We are going to use this documentation. हमने क्या किया सिर्फ security context search किया and we have the example here already. Okay. So we are going to copy this example and try to use it. Okay. So I'll copy this one and create a new folder for this question 13 cd mkdir question 13 security context ऐसे लिख देते हैं अभी के लिए cd question 13. Okay, create a pod.yaml with these all details and इसको अभी change करते हैं. I'll close this one. Okay, we'll copy here. पहले तो चेक करो कि नेमस्पेस दिया है कि नहीं या फिर पॉड का नाम दिया है क्या या बिजी बॉक्स सिक्योरिटी कॉन्टेक्स्ट तो इस सेम नाम यूज करना पड़ेगा हमें बिजी बॉक्स सिक्योरिटी कॉन्टेक्स्ट नेमस्पेस दिया है नो नेमस्पेस इज नॉट गिवन बिजी बॉक्स का इमेज दिया है बिजी बॉक्स 1.28 तो चेंज कर लो यहाँ पे बिजी बॉक्स 1.28 सेम है yeah it's the same. Then they are asking us to run this command in this container तो command एक ऐड कर देते हैं क्या command है sh-c sleep 1h sh-c sleep 1h so yeah they have the perfect we have copied the we have referred to perfect example यहाँ पे. Okay. After this, they have asked us to create a volume, informal volume empty directory, and to mount it at the path data test. So here, volume part is already there, so we are not going to change anything. Save for me, यहाँ पे change करना है path. डेटा टेस्ट करना है। आफ्टर दैट उन्होंने क्या बोला, यूज द यूजर आईडी 1000, मतलब ये कंटेंट इस पॉड को 1000 यूजर आईडी यूज करो। ग्रुप आईडी क्या दिया, 3000, एंड they have asked us to use the system group id as 2000, that is fs group. तो this is a perfect example, हमें कुछ भी नहीं चेंज करना। The last part is ensure that the container should not allow a privilege escalation. Okay. So allow privilege escalation flag हमने disable कर लिया. So this is a perfect example. We don't need to change anything further. एक बार आपको चाहिए तो that we can find out. Okay. They have given an explanation here as well. So, okay. In the configuration file, the run as user field specify that for any containers in the pod, all processes run with user ID 1000. Okay. I would like to share one story. It's a real incident. I worked on one of the tasks in my company where last time, last year, एक बहुत बड़ा vulnerability आया था about the root user and some of the it's related to Log4j shell, and there are a lot many things were happening during that time. Kubernetes and the images which most of the people were using worldwide, they had some vulnerability, and attacker were using those vulnerability to hack the containers and the Kubernetes environment of the many companies. So there was one task to make sure that all the containers or the all the pods which we have in our environment, they should be using non-root user. Okay. सो एक वो टास्क आया था, एंड सिक्योरिटी वाला जो चीज है, तो ये थोड़ा सा दिस इज नॉट द एंटायर सिक्योरिटी विच वी शुड हैव इन Kubernetes, बट ये थोड़ा सा उन्होंने टच दिया है CKAD में भी, दैट सिक्योरिटी कॉन्टेक्स्ट यूज करके यू कैन स्पेसिफाई नॉन रूट यूजर टू बी यूज्ड फॉर योर पॉड्स एंड द कंटेनर्स। ओके। तो 1000 रन एज यूजर स्पेसिफाइज कि ये आपका पॉड या फिर कंटेनर जो भी चालू होने वाला है कि उसमें कौन सा यूजर यूज करना है, 1000 हमने बोला। The run as group field specifies the primary group ID 3000 for all processes within any context of the pod. In this field, if the field is omitted, the primary group ID of the containers will be root. Okay, and you can imagine if your container is a root is created or used, um, have the user as a root user, or it is part of the root user, and hacker gets the access of this pod, they can do anything with your environment, and you really don't want that. And for that reason only, we need to specify the user and the group for our pod. Okay. Any files created will also be owned by this user group 1000 and 3000 when run as group user is specified. Since fs group field is specified, all processes of the container are also part of the supplementary group 2000. Is जो secondary या supplementary group आपको जो specify करना है, that you can specify using a fs group. And this is a perfect example, हमें और कुछ भी change नहीं करना है. Let's create it, kubectl apply -f और करते हैं हम. Okay. वेरीफाई कर लेते kubectl के parts. It is running. Verify कर लो. Always verify the answers of your questions in a CKAD exam. kubectl describe pod. देखो कि क्या यूजर सेट किया है, यहाँ सिक्योरिटी कॉन्टेक्स्ट वाला फील्ड आता है क्या यहाँ पे, आई एम नॉट श्योर. Okay, but what we can do, we can go inside this container, this pod, and check the user ID. Okay, here you can see this user is the 1000 user. It is part of the group 3000, and the primary and the secondary group is this one. So our answer is correct. Okay, and we also mounted this empty directory volume command भी हमारा correct है. So that is the answer of our question. Clear? I would request you guys to go through this documentation. Security context एक बहुत अच्छा concept from a Kubernetes to set which user or the group, the secondary group your pod should be having. Okay, and there are so many things you can actually set capabilities for your pod and the containers. By default, it sets all the default capabilities, but if you know that your this pod or the container should not have the other admin level access, then you can limit system time. आपको सिर्फ permission देना है, then you can limit to those capabilities. Okay, run as user, ये सब कुछ ठीक है. And yeah, ये वाला part CKS में बहुत ज़्यादा डिटेल में आता है. And CKD में उन्होंने just for people information उन्होंने ऐड कर दिया. Okay, so let's move to the next question, which is related to RBAC service account. What they have asked us, RBAC तो हमें पता है. RBAC rules, role binding. They have asked us to create a namespace called T23. तो हमें namespace बनाना है. Pod name service list. In the namespace, इसी namespace में हमें ये pod बनाना है. And image दिया है उन्होंने. Makes a call to the Kubernetes API. Okay. They have asked us to use the command to call to the Kubernetes API to list the service objects in the default namespace in an infinite loop. ठीक है. Are back and the service account and create and attach a service account API call to the pod, inspect the container logs for the pod, एक solve करते हैं, and let's verify whether we are able to call it or not. Assign a cluster role and role binding to the service account that only allows the permission needed by the pod. हमें ये भी determine करना है कि इस pod को क्या permission दे रहे हैं. Okay. So what we are going to do, first thing first, we are going to create an namespace. Let me clear this out और एक नया folder बनाते हैं. mkdir version 14 RBAC. Okay, cd version 14 namespace बनाते हैं. kubectl create namespace T23 जो भी हम pod बनाने वाले, ये वाला pod यहाँ पे होना चाहिए. So सर्विस अकाउंट क्रिएट करने के लिए बोला इन्होंने, राइट. एंड उस सर्विस अकाउंट को एक क्लस्टर रोल असाइन करना है एंड दैट सर्विस अकाउंट वी नीड टू यूज इनसाइड आवर pod. Okay, so what we are going to do first, we are going to create this service account, configure a service account for a pod. ये सब तो सब ठीक है, but we are going to create a service account. If we get a service account definition, fine. Otherwise, we can use the commands as well. जैसे हम pod create करने के लिए imperative commands use करते हैं, similarly we can create service account as well. So let's copy some example from here. This okay? Or we can also do जैसे namespace create करते हैं. So similarly, you can create service account using simple command. Create service account and the service account name is, service account का नाम क्या दिया? Service account API call. Okay. API call नाम दिया है, and this service account and the pod we need to create in the namespace T23. If we create it in default namespace, so this will not work. Okay, so we need to make sure that we are creating this inside namespace T23. What else? They also asked us to create a cluster role. Cluster को role create करने के लिए बोला है, role binding create करने के लिए बोला है. And role binding, using a role binding, we need to add the service account, assign a cluster role, and this cluster role we need to apply using a service account to the pod. तो पहले हम क्लस्टर रोल बना लेते हैं, बी आई क्लस्टर रोल डॉट यामल। एक छोटा सा डेफिनेशन यहाँ से कॉपी कर लेंगे, क्लस्टर रोल using RBAC authorization, this rule, yeah, we can copy this one. इसको थोड़ा सा चेंज करना पड़ेगा हमें, but that is okay, we can do it. Let me save this and यहाँ से चेंज कर क्लस्टर रोल डॉट यामल, इसको पेस्ट कर लो। Have they given us a cluster role name? I don't think so, यहाँ पे कोई cluster role name दिया नहीं है, so we can keep this one only, secret reader, या फिर we can give some meaningful name like list services, पॉड के थ्रू लिस्ट सर्विसेज करना है। ओके, लिस्ट सर्विसेज क्लस्टर रोल, API group is core group, and instead of secrets we are going to use the services। और क्या परमिशन देना है, सर्विसेज को लिस्ट करने का परमिशन देना है, दैट्स इट। ओके, बट नेक्स्ट वी नीड टू क्रिएट अ रोल बाइंडिंग, एक रोल बाइंडिंग क्रिएट करना है rb.yaml, और यूजिंग दिस रोल बाइंडिंग वी नीड टू मैप this cluster role and the service account। So let me get the role binding definition from here only, this is the one। इसको थोड़ा चेंज कर देंगे हम बाद में, कॉपी पेस्ट, इसको हटा दो, इज नॉट नीडेड, ये थोड़ा हमें डिफिकल्ट कर रहा है, छोटा कर देते हैं इसको। ओके, ओके, सो रोल बाइंडिंग को नाम देते हैं सर्विस अकाउंट, सर्विस रोल बाइंडिंग, सर्विस अकाउंट एंड रोल बाइंडिंग, सर्विस अकाउंट रोल बाइंडिंग, ठीक है, रोल बाइंडिंग। But they have asked to bind the service account instead of user, we are going to bind service account to the cluster role। इसको एक सर्विस अकाउंट को जो हमने नाम दिया था वही देना है नाम, API call is a service account name and it is part of namespace instead of API, it is part of that service account, is part of namespace T23, correct। और क्या चेंज करना है, क्लस्टर रोल इंस्टेड ऑफ रोल वी नीड टू प्रोवाइड द क्लस्टर रोल हियर। क्लस्टर रोल का नाम भी करेक्ट देना पड़ेगा हमें, क्लस्टर रोल का नाम हमने क्या दिया अभी, इट्स अ लिस्ट सर्विसेज क्लस्टर रोल। ओके एंड दैट्स इट, बस रोल बाइंडिंग भी क्रिएट कर लेते हैं, यह हमारा रोल बाइंडिंग बन गया। What next, we need to create a pod and inside a pod we need to use this service account। थोड़ा लंबा क्वेश्चन है, हमें क्लस्टर रोल क्रिएट करने के लिए बोला है, रोल बाइंडिंग या क्रिएट करने के लिए बोला है, सर्विस अकाउंट क्रिएट करने के लिए बोला है, एंड यूजिंग दैट सर्विस अकाउंट, यहाँ पे देखो they have given us example of service account subject as well, which you can refer। okay, and once these resources are created we also need to mount the service account or use the service account inside a pod, configure service account for pod। You can see the example here, service account name we need to provide। okay, so let's create one more file called pod.yaml and copy this example। तो pod का नाम क्या दिया इन्होंने, make sure you use this correct name, service list is a pod name। Is there any namespace given? Yes, हमें pod create करने के लिए namespace दिया था, so we need to use the same namespace T23। सर्विस अकाउंट का नाम है हमारा API कॉल, तो वो चेंज कर लेते हैं, what amount service account token false, this is okay, But the main part is हमारा pod के अंदर कौन से containers होना चाहिए, that also we need to define. This part we can actually copy from the documentation or you can create it yourself. Okay. तो इसमें अंदर एक pod container बनना चाहिए. um, okay, we are giving some random name service list and they have also given us कि इस कंटेनर को क्रिएट करने के लिए कौन सा इमेज यूज करना है एंड ऑल्सो द कमांड. इसको मैं ऐसे लिख के लेता हूँ पहले एंड विल यूज द सेम इमेज अल्पाइन कर्ल 3:14 अल्पाइन स्लैश कर्ल 3.14 एंड दे हैव गिवन अस अ कमांड कि क्या कमांड यूज करना है. कमांड इज ऐसे कल करना है टू द Kubernetes API. Okay. So this part actually they will give you कि कल कैसे करना है that command, but here I think I don't have it. So I'm going to refer it from the question. Okay. So actually to call the this API, you can use this command called. ये आपको याद करने की जरूरत नहीं है. They will give this entire command or this entire pod file as well. So sh-c and they want us to call this API in infinite loop. So we are going to use the while loop and do the call for this API. Authorization bearer token pass karo and that bearer token for authorization you can get it from the secrets. Okay. So here you can get it from the secret var run. एक जो secret mount होता है, I think we will need to remove this. इसको रहने दो because we are going to need secret token for calling this API call. Run var run secrets and इसके अंदर एक फाइल में एक secret होगा. Okay. Var run secrets kubernetes.io kubernetes.io service account slash token. This thing actually you can see if you don't use the mount automatic service account token इस पाथ पे एक service account token mount होता है automatically. So we have gotten our secret. इसको Kubernetes API को भी कॉल कर लेते हैं Kubernetes default service in instance. So yeah, just give me a moment to type everything. v1/namespace namespaces/default/services and done. That was a very long command, but yeah, here actually I need to close this and remove this part. Okay, perfect. So yeah, let's we'll try to create these roles first. Cluster role बनाते, role binding करते, cluster role.yaml, kubectl apply -f cluster role.yaml. Cluster role बन गया. So create a role binding, kubectl apply -f role binding. And then we are going to apply these changes for a pod. चेक कर लेते हैं kubectl git pod cluster role and role binding. एक एक कर get pods in the default namespace or in the T23. Okay, our this container is running. We can check the logs, kubectl logs, T23, and you can see here we are calling this Kubernetes API, but it's saying unauthorized find. Maybe we are not passing it correctly. Var run secrets Kubernetes Kubernetes.io service account स्लैश टोकन इस पाथ पे हमारा एक टोकन रहता है इनसाइड अ पॉड and we are calling this Kubernetes API. Fine. No worries, that was the some hard questions. इतना difficult question आता नहीं है, but we can always try to solve this. So we are going to inside this container kubectl exec-it and going to check whether we have the token or not. -n T23. Let me copy this file path and container के अंदर इस path पे token है क्या देखते हैं. Yes, we have the token for authentication to the API server Kubernetes dot default svc cluster dot local API slash v1 slash namespaces default and the services. Fine, but something went wrong here. Service account name, API call. Install it. So I'm going to delete this service account. Kubectl delete service account, and let's create it again. Kubectl create service account. This in namespace T23. Everything is correct. Cluster role we have provided to list the services for this cluster role, and that we have mounted to this service account using a role binding. Service account API call namespace is T23, cluster role is this, and cluster role name is list services CR. को confirm कर लेते हैं. Yeah, list services CR, and API group is RBAC authorization.ktest.io. That is also correct. And inside the pod, we have this everything. Inside a pod, we are using the service account name correctly. API call is service account name. Namespace we have service list. Image name is correct. sh-c while true. Yeah, as I said, this command is for calling to API server. This is a URL for your API server, and for authentication, we can get a token from here. तो टोकन तो करेक्ट है, बट स्टिल लेट्स सेइंग अनऑथराइज्ड. तो एक बार इसको भी डिलीट करके देखते हैं कि वेबसाइट डिलीट hyphen import.yaml and let's try to recreate. Okay, one more tip here. Kubectl gate pods -t23. Sometimes this pod will take a lot of time to delete the pod, and since as I said, आपको एग्जाम में बहुत ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं रहता, सो यू कैन डिलीट द पॉड क्विकली बाय अप्लाइंग द फोर्स हाइफन फोर्स ग्रेस पीरियड इज इक्वल टू 0। तो ये क्विकली डिलीट हो जाएगा। ओके, kubectl, and yeah, the resource is deleted now. Let's apply again kubectl apply hyphen pod.yaml, and let's verify whether our pod is running fine. kubectl get pods hyphen n t23, yes it is running fine। एक बार इसको logs भी check कर लेते हैं। If this doesn't work, we can take this for assignment। Unauthorized reason मतलब ये token में कुछ गलत हो रहा है। The entire thing is correct. Only thing is we are passing an incorrect token. Okay, something might have changed now. Okay, but yeah, in your CKAD exam, you will get a very simple example to create a service account and to mount it to the pod। तो आपको सिर्फ ये ऐड करना है service account token name, and that will be your final answer। This question I picked up from internet। ये थोड़ा this is a complicated one, but we'll take this for assignment। Yeah, sure। I'll share this PPT। I'll upload this on our course, and then you can try it out। I'll also try it out, but since we have limited time, I want to move for the next question। Okay, yeah। The next question is related to persistent volume। एक minute, just a 1 minute, I need to have water। Okay, you are saying command itself is long। Yeah, command थोड़ा लंबा है, but they will give you command। I think I am typing the command wrongly। Kubernetes API का URL कहीं पे मिल जाए तो अच्छा होगा। Kubernetes API kubernetes.php। accessing the Kubernetes API from pod। Okay, so this is आप देख सकते हो, this is a entire thing। It runs at this API server URL, and we need to pass on the token which is stored at this location। So kubernetes.default.svc default.svc cluster.local API v1 namespaces default service। This is the entire REST API to get the list of services। Okay, local API v1 namespaces default services, and we need to pass on the service account token which we are already passing as a bearer token, and it will give us this is the entire command call करने के लिए bearer token, and you need to pass the API server slash v1 on this। मैं क्या करता हूँ, maybe this command is itself wrong। I can do here till here, और देखते हैं कि ये क्या change करता है। Okay, it will not allow us to change the command for the container। kubectl delete hyphen f। It's taking time, so let's delete forcefully। हमारा थोड़ा सा टाइम सेव हो जाना चाहिए। Okay, it has been deleted। Let's apply it again। kubectl apply क्या हुआ, delete this pod from namespace भी दिया देना है ना, फिर 23। Okay. Our pod is created, kubectl get pods -n t23. एक लास्ट ट्राई करते हैं, अदरवाइज we'll take it as an assignment. Price भी आ रहा है, okay, which means something is not correct here. Okay, no worries. Let's not spend time here. इतना ज़्यादा डिफिकल्ट वाला क्वेश्चन तो नहीं आएगा, but this is just for your information. And yeah, just check out this one, how to access the Kubernetes API from pod or from anywhere outside. You can also you can create your Python program. जो हमारे kubectl के जो commands होते हैं, those also call these APIs only by passing the bearer token. जो हमारे kubeconfig फाइल में जो इंफॉर्मेशन रहता है, ऑथेंटिकेशन secrets and the certificates वगैरह जो रहते हैं टोकन, that by using that only we are able to access the cluster API server, right? So you can write a Python program to connect to the API server and use this information. एक बार try कर लो. Okay, so the next thing is to create a persistent volume. Persistent volume हमें पता है. So persistent volume named PV, नाम दिया इन्होंने PV, और access mode is read write many, storage capacity दिया है, and the host path भी दिया है कि कहाँ पे इसको mount करना है. From host path, and then we need to create a persistent volume claim which should request 256 out of this 510 12 MI, and username testing value for the storage class. Okay, storage class use करना है and properly bound करना है between this persistent volume and the persistent volume claim, and use that persistent volume claim in the pod app on the path var app config, and this is the image they have given us. Okay, nice. We can do that. Okay, so let's create a PV first. PV का एक definition copy कर लेते हैं यहाँ से. Persistent volume, search for PV. ये आ गया हमारे persistent volume का guide, and we can copy one example from here. एक अच्छा वाला जहाँ पे पूरा information दिया होगा इन्होंने. Yes, we can copy this one. Okay, इसको copy कर लेते हैं. Let's create one more folder here. Question 15 PV. Okay, cd question 15 PV. vi PV. Sorry, here this one. And this folder में I'm going to create 3 files. One is for PV, one is for PVC, and one is for pod. pv.yaml. One is for PVC. This is a persistent volume now. Okay, and one is for pod.yaml. तो PV से start करते हैं. We are going to create a PV. नाम क्या दिया है PV का? PV's name is named PV. PV का नाम भी PV ही दिया है. Okay, let's change the name. Access mode they have given. Access mode is read write many. तो change कर लो read write many. Correct. And what is the next thing? Storage capacity दिया है 512 MI. So storage को change कर लेता है. Request नहीं है, resource request नहीं दिया है. They have given us a capacity, right? Capacity दिया है. So we need to use the storage capacity parameter here. Let's search for capacity. So we are going to use the capacity parameter to specify the storage capacity. So instead of resources, we are going to use the capacity. कुछ चीजें हमें directly मिल जाएंगी, कुछ चीजें नहीं मिलेगी. So we'll need to change accordingly. And the storage capacity is 512 MI. Okay, storage class name is not given, so we'll not use it. But the thing is, they have also given us a host path. They are asking us to create this volume as a host path. So let's give the host path directory here to mount. You can always check the some examples. Host path. Okay. अब for example आपको यहाँ पे मिल जाएगा volume बनाना है and this is a helpful documentation. Okay. So this is done. PV बनाया है हमने. अब next thing is we need to create a PVC. PVC का भी एक copy कर लेते हैं from here PVC. Persistent volume. Okay. Persistent volume. Yeah, this was the perfect example which we should have copied. इसको ही copy करके आपको देगा show करता हूँ. ठीक है ना? Okay. Label वगैरह not needed. The name was PV. Storage class name was not given. So we'll remove it, and the capacity, storage capacity was given 500 MI. तो change कर लेते हैं. Access mode was read write many, and the path was क्या दिया है? Data config. So let's change it. Data config. That's it. Let's copy the PVC as well. यहाँ पे PVC का दिया है इन्होंने. So कुछ आपको documentation में search भी करना आना चाहिए. They have everything here. PVC का नाम they have given. It's a PVC. Name is PVC. Same नाम use करना है, and request should be 256 MI. So request भेजते हैं 256 MI instead of this 3 GB. 256 MI, and the access mode was read write many, same as our PV हमें use करना पड़ेगा. And the storage class is a empty string, not manual. Empty string बोला है. So we will do this. This is a PVC और हमें pod भी बनाने के लिए बोला है. So pod को mount करने के लिए they may have given example here. Yeah, they have given. So इसको copy कर लेते हैं and paste it here. Pod का अगर नाम दिया है तो pod का नाम भी देते हैं हम. Okay. So pod name is क्या नाम दिया है pod का? Pod name is app. ये नाम दिया इन्होंने. पाथ दिया है कि कहाँ पे माउंट करना है और nginx 1.21.6 सब कुछ चेंज कर ले. nginx 1.21.6. pod name is app. कंटेनर का इमेज चेंज कर दिया हमने एंड कंटेनर के अंदर कहाँ पे माउंट करना है हमें that also they have given. So it is data app config / data app config, and we need to give the name as it is. Claim name क्या है हमारा? Claim name is PVC का नाम है PVC, और ये जो हमने वॉल्यूम बनाया task PV storage using this PVC, that name we need to give here in the volume mount section. And these ports they have not given, so we will remove this port वाला section. और कुछ दिया है हमें? I don't think so. This is a perfect thing. We can run our pod and PVC. Okay, let's create it. kubectl apply -a PV बनाते हैं first. PV बन गया. kubectl apply PVC by PVC क्रिएट करते हैं. kubectl apply PVC, then we'll create a pod. kubectl apply -f pod.yaml. चेक करते कि तीनों बने कि नहीं. kubectl get PV, PVC and pod. pod बना हमारा 500 MI का. It has bound to this PVC and our pod is also running. तो इसको वेरीफाई कर लो. kubectl गेट नहीं, डिस्क्राइब कर लो. डिस्क्राइब pod /app. Okay, so you can see here our persistent volume claim is mounted and the name is this one, PVC, and the path is data app config. Okay, so that's a final solution for this one. और जो हम पहले वाले क्वेश्चन में जो माउंट कर रहे थे ना सीक्रेट, एक बाय डिफॉल्ट सीक्रेट सर्विस अकाउंट माउंट होता है एंड विच विल हैव द एपीआई एक्सेस टोकन. Okay, so this is the security part. So this question might not be there, but I just want to share this कि by default एक सर्विस अकाउंट माउंट होता है हर एक पॉड को when you create it, and you will need to specify one parameter to don't mount. और जो ये पैरामीटर, ये जो टोकन रहता है ना सर्विस अकाउंट टोकन, इट यूजिंग दैट यू कैन एक्सेस द एपीआई सर्वर. आपको पता है कि एपीआई सर्वर का एक्सेस मिला, व्हिच मींस योर एंटायर कुबरनेटिस इज एक्सपोज्ड इफ यू डोंट हैव प्रॉपर आरबैक इम्प्लीमेंटेड ऑब्वियसली. ओके, तो उस सर्विस अकाउंट टोकन को आपको डिसेबल करने के लिए यू विल नीड टू add one more parameter in your pod configuration. Let me check it. Configure service account auto mount service account token करके एक आता है, yeah, this one. So this you can add to disable mounting by default service account token. और इस ये जो टोकन माउंट होता है सर्विस अकाउंट, इसमें सर्विस अकाउंट टोकन का बेरर टोकन होता है एंड यूजिंग दैट यू कैन एक्सेस क्लस्टर. An application running inside a pod can access a Kubernetes API using automatically mounted service account credentials. Okay, and that's a risky part. So you, if you are using Kubernetes pods in your production, so make sure you are disabling this. You are using this flag. Outbound service account token false. और आपको पता है just now we solved one question कि एक user defined service account token create करो, bind those service account token with roles and role bindings or cluster and cluster role binding. Proper permission दो आपके service account को and mount that token using service account name inside a pod, और आपको so that you can give a proper permission to the pod. अगर आपका pod expose भी हो गया, then also your pod is secure because you have given the limited permissions. I think Nikhil's question. Can we copy paste manifest file from documentation in middle of exam? Yes, that is allowed. Kubernetes.io का access होता है आपको. It is allowed during exam. Yeah, because the thing is you can't remember all the entire this YAML file in the exam, and you can't write it from scratch. We have seen the imperative commands to create all these resources, but if we are getting some help from the documentation, then why not to use it? Correct. Yeah. So this is the one question about the persistent volume. You can see here. Labels and annotation का एक question था that we are going to see here. इतना बड़ा वाला क्वेश्चन नहीं आता है, इट विल बी वेरी सिंपल, बट लेट्स सी लेबल्स एंड सिलेक्टर्स क्या होता है. लेबल सिलेक्टर्स हमने पहले भी देखा है इन सर्विसेज पार्ट, इन डिप्लॉयमेंट पार्ट. ओके, so labels and selectors क्या होते हैं? Labels are key value pairs that are attached to the objects such as pods. Labels are intended to use to specify identifying attributes to the object and relevant to the users. And you can see here the motivation of using these labels. Labels enables users to map their own organization structures, like you can define which is the release of pod, which environment this pod is you're deploying, and different things you can apply as a label to those pods, which can help you to filter these pods based on those labels. ओके, दिस वेरी गुड एग्जांपल. आप स्पेसिफाई कर सकते हो कि कौन सा एनवायरनमेंट है ये वाला, आपके पॉड का एप्लीकेशन का नाम क्या है एंड एवरीथिंग. ओके, selector plays a big role for identifying the similar pods using labels. Okay, and we have seen this selectors we use in deployment and in services as well. Okay, ये वाले examples you can try it out how to filter out the pods based on the labels. So kubectl git pods hyphen l, and you can give the labels for the labels to filter out. Okay, मतलब ये वाला अगर label match होता है then you can get those pods listed. And similarly you can give the in operator as well. मतलब if you have the multiple pods with the different values and you want to filter based on the key value pairs, then you can specify key environment in production staging वगैरह ऐसा you can apply the filter. Okay, we have seen this selector wala part in deployment and services to filter out these pods as well. Some Kubernetes objects such as the services replication controllers also use the label selectors to specify set of pods or the resource set of other resources such as pods. Okay, we are going to see that again. Check karte hain. Or I can show you now also. Duplicate and I'll open the deployment. Deployment का YAML आपको अगर याद होगा, there we specify the selector section. Okay, here आप देख सकते हो यहाँ पे we are specifying the selectors to group all these pods created by this deployment under this deployment. Similarly, एक services वाला भी होगा. Services, we know that we use the services for exposing our application on the network, and there are different types of services: cluster IP, node port, load balancer, external name, वगैरह. And here also we put the selector to uh, to define कि इस सर्विस को जब ट्रैफिक आएगा, जब रिक्वेस्ट आएगी, then to which pod we should forward this traffic. So that is defined by these selectors. Okay. Service object you can create retrieve वगैरह, ठीक है. For example, suppose you have a set of pods that each listen on the TCP port this. आपका एक pod है which is listening on this, and using labels, and they have these labels. Okay, so you can define the service to publish that TCP listener. You can define in the service कि ये वाला जो pod होगा which is listening on this port, and these pods has this label, then forward the traffic. तो ऐसे आप segregation करते हो for these services. Okay, and this is one classic example of that. Okay, coming back to this labels and selector आपको clear हो गया होगा. So basically labels and annotation वाला भी देखते हैं कि annotations क्या होते हैं. Okay, you can use the Kubernetes annotations to attach arbitrarily non-identifying metadata to objects, which means labels you can use for the filtering out the information or the pods or the resources, but annotations are just for the applying the information to the pods or the resources. You can't use the annotations for filtering out. Okay. Okay. So that is not the only use of annotations. Some of the things you can apply to the pod using annotations. Like you can define कि ये वाला जो image use कर रहे हैं, तो उसके लिए कौन सा image registry use होना चाहिए. That you can put into image registry annotations. ऐसे बहुत सारे annotations होते हैं. It's not as there is not any list which annotations you can apply just like a labels, but जैसे Datadog, for some cases you will need to add extra annotations to use the Datadog tracing or logging के लिए आपको extra annotations add करने पड़ते हैं. And you will find those annotations in their particular tool documentation. You don't need to worry about it. Just remember the difference between annotations and the labels. Um, Labels you can use for filtering out, but annotations is the metadata about your object pod, and which you can't use for filtering out the resources. Okay, coming back to the question, what they are asking, create 3 different pods with the names front-end, back-end database, and apply these labels for those pods as follows. For front-end के लिए ये वाला labels add कर दो, back-end के लिए ये वाला add कर दो. एक मिनट. Okay. एंड annotations कौन से ऐड करने हैं वो भी दिया है इन्होंने. Render the list of all parts and their labels. Use the labels letters on the command line to query for all production parts that belong to the teams Shiny and Legacy. And okay, so we can create the pod. फिर से एक और एक क्वेश्चन फोल्डर बनाते हैं और उन पॉड को लेबल एंड एनोटेशन ऐड करना है. Question 16. Okay. So let's create one pod.yaml file. हम इसी वाले एग्जाम्पल को यहाँ से एक एग्जाम्पल उठाएंगे and we'll copy it. Yeah, we can use this one. Okay. They have given us labels to use and the annotations to use, nothing else. So we can use this injections. So I'm going to create this YAML, and to create multiple pods from a same file, you can put three dots or three dashes to separate out, or you can create three different files as well, no problem. But I'm going to create all these three pods in one file. So let's change the name of the first pod to the front end, and second pod का नाम है backend, and third pod का नाम है database. So बस पहले तो इतना चेंज कर लेते हैं. I think I copied it twice, or yeah. Third pod name is database. और अभी देखते हैं कि इन्होंने क्या दिया है लेबल्स ऐड करने के लिए. फ्रंट एंड prod, team is shiny. ओके, पहले तो लेबल्स ऐड कर देते हैं. क्या बोला है फ्रंट एंड पॉड के लिए एनवायरमेंट प्रॉड, तीनों तीनों को एनवायरमेंट पॉड ऐड करना है. ठीक है, सो इसको चेंज करते हैं, env करते हैं एंड prod. Same label we need to add for all other pods as well. Done. Okay, next thing is, next label we need to add team is equal to shiny for front end. Okay, team is shiny. For backend, they have given team is equal to legacy and app v124. App v1.2.4 and team is legacy. तो थर्ड वाला पॉड है डेटाबेस का, उसका क्या दिया, टीम इज एनवायरमेंट इज prod and team is storage. Team is storage. Okay. Annotations भी दिए, annotations we need to add. सिंपल है. सो व्हाट विल डू, इसे लेबल्स ऐड किए वैसे ही एनोटेशंस के लिए एनोटेशन सेक्शन आ जाएगा, एंड हियर वी कैन पुट द एनोटेशंस वी हैव गिवन. क्या दिया है एनोटेशंस, contact is equal to John Doe and commit is this. Front end के लिए दिया है contact is John Doe and commit is 2d3 mg3. Okay, 2d3 mg3. Okay, that was front end annotations. Back end के लिए annotations क्या दिया, Mary Harris. Okay, back end का भी चेंज कर देते हैं. Annotations for back end is Mary Harris. That's it. और क्या बोला है, yeah, this part is done. we are creating three different parts. आपको YAML दिया होगा for you in your exam, but since we are doing a demo, I am creating it from scratch. Label हो गया, just front end, back end, database, front end annotation, back end annotations, render the list of parts and the left. Okay, that's the only thing they are asked. So इसको create करते हैं. kubectl apply -f for .yaml. ओके, तीन पार्ट बन गए हमारे. चेक कर लेते हैं इनका annotations and labels. kubectl get parts -f labels. -show labels करके एक आता है. show labels, या -show labels करोगे तो आपको इस पॉड का लेबल्स दिख जाएगा. एंड यू कैन सी हियर वी हैव अप्लाइड द करेक्ट लेबल्स. एनोटेशंस चेक करने के लिए यू कैन डू द डिस्क्राइब. kubectl my cat is crying now. If describe pod front end grep -i annotations. Okay, annotations apply हो गया. Similarly, just check for backend as well. Yeah. So annotations भी apply हो गए properly. Use label selectors on the command line to query for all production parts that belong to the team Shiny and Legacy. ये वाला हो गया हमारा. इसको try करते हैं अभी. ओके, यहाँ पे हमें एक फिल्टर वाला आया था. लेबल्स को फिल्टर कैसे करते हैं. सो ये वाला वी कैन कॉपी दिस वन. kubectl गेट पार्ट्स यूजिंग लेबल्स. और क्या इन्होंने दिया है कि टीम शाइनी का जो पार्ट होगा, राइट, query all parts that belongs to team shiny and legacy. So we can get it like this. हम बोलते हैं कि team in shiny or legacy, or this is not required, so we'll remove it. We got the parts which has these labels. Next thing is remove the label from the backend part and return the selection. Okay, so we are going to remove this label for a backend part. So we can do the kubectl label for backend. और कौन सा बोला है इन्होंने रिमूव करने के लिए. env जो लेबल है उसको रिमूव करना है. So just put a label name env and minus to remove it. Okay, it is unlabeled and you can see the labels now. It has removed the env label for backend part. पहले था ना env prod, तो उसका निकल गया. That is a final solution for this one. ऐसे आपको एग्जाम में कुछ छोटा क्वेश्चन आएगा. दिस इज लिटिल कॉम्प्लिकेटेड. अगेन एज ए सेट कि आपको सब कुछ आंसर आ जाएगा, बट द प्रॉब्लम इज द क्वेश्चंस इज लिटिल लेंदी. एक क्वेश्चन 4-5 मार्क्स के लिए बहुत कुछ पूछते हैं, एंड दैट्स व्हाई यू नीड स्पीड इन दिस एग्जाम. इनिट कंटेनर, ठीक है, इनिट कंटेनर भी ट्राई करते हैं. I'll see what are the important questions. This will be a last question, and then we can discuss about the few tips and tricks and how you guys are planning for the exam, all these things. Okay. Okay, let's see. Init container आपको पता है, we have discussed a lot of time about the init container, sidecar container, सब कुछ देखा था हमने. So they are asking us to create a pod YAML file, business app.yaml, which should have the two containers. One is init container, which will start before our main application, and one is main application container. And init container configuration they are giving, its name should be a web, uses the image busybox. Main container uses the image this one. and exposes on the port 8080 edit the YAML file to use the empty directory volume. You can see here कि इन्होंने फिर से हमें volume add करने के लिए बोला है, and command to be used for empty init container is this one. क्या बोला इन्होंने, डाउनलोड करने के लिए हमें कमांड we can use the wget command for downloading this file. Okay, and that's it. So we can copy one example from for init containers. देखते हैं init container का example है क्या यहाँ पे. Yeah, we have one example, तो इसी को copy कर लेते हैं. Okay, fine. Let's create one more folder. mkdir question 17 init container IC रखते हैं, cd question 17 IC. So we are going to create one file pod.yaml. इसके अंदर हमें दो pods बनाने हैं. One is main application container and another is init container. So just give me 1 minute. I think I'll give some food for my cat and come back in 1 minute. Sorry about this. Okay, I'm back, guys. Yeah. So coming back to the init containers, we have copied this example, and you know the use of this init containers. Right. A pod can have multiple containers running apps with it. Init containers always run to completion. Each init container must complete successfully before the next one starts. So if you have a requirement to install some files or some run some script, set up scripts which are not part of your app image, then you can use init containers for those. Okay, that's the usage of init containers. And once your init containers work is done, your main application container will start. Okay, so let's see. They have given us a pod name. Business app, we can give a pod name, or my app pod is also fine. They also not given us any label, so we can remove this part. Main container का उन्होंने दिया है कि main container image should be this bmuschko, तो इसको change कर लेते हैं bmu schko node.js और read config learn 100. This is a main application image, and they want us to expose this main container on the port container port 8080. तो ये हो गया main container का. Is there anything else they are asking us? For main container, edit YAML file adding a new volume of type empty directory that is mounted to both the containers. Okay, empty directory वाला volume भी हमें create करना है. So we can copy the one more file. And in exam, they don't allow you to open multiple tabs. Only one tab opening is allowed. One, yeah, I think one tab. यहाँ पे नहीं है. So ये main वाला ही use करते हैं, ठीक है. I search for empty directory. We have example here. इसी को copy कर लेते हैं. Volumes. First, we need to create a volume and use that volume to be mounted to both the containers. Okay. Cache volume and we can create this volume as an empty directory. Volume का कुछ नाम दिया है. No, they have not given a volume name. Fine. So to mount this volume, we know how to mount. Volume mounts का एक section add करना पड़ेगा and we can mount it. इसको both the containers, for both the containers we need to mount it. And where to mount it? Have they given a path here? Yours are shared app. इस path पे हमें mount करना है. Mount path is yours are shared path. Copy this one for our main container. Okay, if you notice here, they have two init containers, but हमारे question में एक ही init container बोला है. So we'll remove this part. We don't need it. एक ही init container है. Or let's go back and again check. We don't have any command given here for main application, so we'll remove it. But for init container, they want us to download this file. Okay. So fine. So maybe we can put this as a sample and let it be here. You can replace it with this original command. You just need to do a wget -o and pass this entire thing. Let me check if I'm able to copy this. ये type करते time बहुत time जाएगा ना, इसलिए I was trying to avoid it, but no worries. So wget -o and the file path. We need to store it at USR shared path shared path. करेक्ट आपको पाथ देना पड़ेगा. समटाइम्स हम जल्दी जल्दी में मिस्टेक कर देते हैं इतना छोटा, एंड इट विल impact on the CKAD result. It's not allowed. So this is okay. We are downloading this file, and let's check empty init container को के लिए they are given us to use the busybox image, not 1.28. तो ये छोटी चीजें बहुत मैटर करेगी आपके एग्जाम में. If they have mentioned कि busybox का यूज करना है, not any particular version of the busybox, then use the simple one. Okay. Anything else we are missing still? Init container uses busybox image, main container uses this image, exposes this is done. Check करते जाओ एक एक thing. Because the question is very lengthy. Edit YAML file, ये वाला भी हो गया. We have done this exposure. We have used these images and then edit YAML file to download this file. Okay, this is also done. Which means yeah, we are correct. This is a final answer for us. So let's try to create this pod. kubectl apply -f pod.yaml. Pod is created. Check करते हैं kubectl get pods and our pod name is Maya pod. So it is initializing. Init error बोल रहे हैं. So let's verify कि क्या error है. kubectl describe pod Maya pod. Back of restarting pod init mydb in pod my app pod on default. Successfully put the image, but starting init mydb pod is failing, which means we are not doing something correct. We created this empty directory with a cache volume. We attached it to USR setup directory, and volume name is also correct. Empty directory created, image is correct. Inside this, they are asking us to download this file at config.json. मतलब इसको हमें /config.json करना पड़ेगा and apply this when it may not be allowed. So हमें फिर से delete करना पड़ेगा. kubectl delete -f and create this pod again. छोटा छोटा चीज होगा but it will give us errors. Okay, कुछ हो रहा है शायद. Or you can use the watch command as well. कुछ आता है watch -w. So watch command will continuously refresh the status of that command after every few seconds or minute. इस कुछ time रहता है. Okay, and our pod is running. My pod. Let's check if we have that file here. kubectl exec -it my pod. Let's go inside the pod और चेक करते कि USR shared app में हमारा फाइल डाउनलोड हुआ है. config.json फाइल डाउनलोड हुआ है, which means our answer is correct. Okay, that is the final answer of this question. Start the pod and ensure it is up and running. Run the command curl plus -tat from the main application container. That response should render a database URL derived of the information. ठीक है, ये pod के अंदर जाने के बाद they are asking us to curl on the port 8080 from the main container. Curl -http localhost port 8080. From inside a pod, we need to do a curl. Okay, let's try again localhost colon 8080, and if we get something empty reply from server, but kuch to aaya, it's not giving us an error. Fail to connect to the localhost. Okay, no worries. Six seconds. Okay, we got outside that container. The command chala nahi hai from inside a container. Terminated with exit code 137, which means something is happening, but you are not able to render the database URL. Yeah, no, it's fine. So that is the final answer of this question. I think we can't solve all the questions, so I'm going to share this volume mounts twice mentioned. Mm, yeah, that is required. Volume mounts, we are mounting this same volume to both the containers, right? एक जो main हमारा container है उसके लिए भी and also to the init container. That's a usage of this ephemeral volumes like empty data, right? We can share the data. We downloaded this file config.json in init container and same volume on this path. Okay, USR shared app. And what we did, we went inside this main app container. Since this both the containers are sharing the same volume, we are able to see this file, which is downloaded from the init container inside a main application container. Clear? Okay. So I have few more questions. I have noted down all the questions because of the time we will not be able to cover all these things. And I have a list of questions which I'm going to create one link and share those questions with you, and I'll upload that on our course, so you can go through it and check out all the questions, and it will be fun. So if you face any difficulties while solving all those questions, just let me know. I'll be there to help you on group. And so sadly, this is the end of our CKD series. Um, so yeah, maybe I will plan for next session sometime, but not immediately. Um, Let me know what most, if you need any more sessions, just drop those messages in chat, or just let me know on the group as well. We'll plan all those sessions, and yeah, that's it for today. Thank you guys. You have been a great support for me. You have been attending all these sessions on weekend. तो मुझे पता है कि weekend का ये जो time रहता है evening का, especially बहुत लोगों को बाहर घूमने के लिए जाना होता है, family के साथ time spend करना रहता है, and still you guys are coming here trying to learn something new about the Kubernetes, and something new that is commendable. So really thank you to all of you, and I wish you best of luck. Let's make it. ये Kubernetes का ये first exam आप सबको clear करना है, and I'm sure after going through all these live sessions, you must be feeling very confident about the Kubernetes, and hopefully you will definitely, not hopefully, I'm sure you will definitely clear the CKD exam, and yeah. Yes. So yeah, our batch 2 is already started. Yeah, sure. I'll upload all the PPTs, and yeah, कल का PPT जो question था that I already uploaded. आज का भी upload कर लूँगा. Yes, we all have come a long way through this session. We started with 0 followers on YouTube as well. People are liking our sessions and our content. So really thankful to all of you. Sure. YAML files तो आपको ट्राई करना पड़ेगा ना खुद से लिखने का. Sure. It may take some time to share the YAML file with all the descriptions, but let me know if you need it. I'll put it on my GitHub and share the link on our site so that you can go through it. Okay. Yes. Anything else you want to share your experience? I'll unmute you guys and you can share. If you want to talk, just okay. share your experience attending these live sessions or anything. Kubernetes exam itna bhi tough nahi if you practice a lot and if you really want to clear it. Definitely you can clear it. अपने सेशंस में सब कुछ कवर कर लिया हमने. हेल्थ डिप्लॉयमेंट वो सारे क्वेश्चंस आई हैव स्किप बिकॉज वी हैव ऑलरेडी सीन दोस इनटू previous sessions. Deployment को रोलिंग अपडेट वगैरह कैसे करना है, ब्लूप्रिंट डिप्लॉयमेंट सर्विसेज ट्रबल शूटिंग वगैरह इन्वेस्टमेंट और नेटवर्क पॉलिसीज हेल्थ चार्ट and those are the some questions we have already seen. So yeah, I want is sufficient for exam. Yes, definitely. And जो extra questions are related to deployment and the rolling update, blue green वगैरह that we already मतलब हमने पूरा project बना के लिया है, so it will not be that difficult for you to solve this question. Okay. What next after CKD? CKD आफ्टर CKD देखते हैं कि कितने लोगों को नेक्स्ट ये जो चाहिए सीरीज में बी CKA और KCNA या फिर CKS and I'll also need to look for my time, need to check my time as well because अभी KCD चालू होने वाला है, so I'll be busy there and थोड़ा overwhelming हो जाएगा. Yeah, okay, so CKD एग्जाम क्या कैसे होता है, स्ट्रक्चर वो सब कुछ देखते हैं. CKD exam, most of the things are already answered here, but you know what, since we are live, we can discuss about that. Or it's an online exam, एक proctor बैठा रहता है आपके साथ. He always live to help you if you get stuck. And the duration of the exam for CKD is 2 hours. The current Kubernetes version is 1.27. Eligibility for the exam is 12 months. मतलब आपने एक बार परचेस कर लिया कूपन, so you can give the exam any time between 12 months. One retake is available, but yeah, if you fail the exam in the first go, you can give it again after some time and use that one retake. So there will be like 16 to 17 questions which you will need to solve within the 2 hours, and you can appear for the exams for 2 times, one main attempt and one retake. Okay. Candidate book is here. एक ब्राउजर आता है उनका, आई एम नॉट श्योर इफ दैट हैज बीन चेंज्ड. सो PSI ब्राउजर दैट यू सम सॉफ्टवेयर यू विल नीड टू इंस्टॉल इन योर मशीन. आपको पूरा इंस्ट्रक्शन मिलता है कि क्या क्या चीज़ आपको करनी है. दिस इज कैंडिडेट रिक्वायरमेंट्स, सिस्टम रिक्वायरमेंट, PSI ऑनलाइन प्रॉक्टरिंग सिस्टम चेक, ब्रीच वगैरह. ओके, एक ईमेल आएगा कि आपको कुछ अगर इंस्टॉल वगैरह करना रहेगा तो. एंड दिस इज वेरी मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट पार्ट. इसी में बहुत लोग ज़्यादा फ्रस्ट्रेटेड हो जाता है. टेस्टिंग एनवायरनमेंट, दे चेक योर एंटायर रूम. सिंस दिस इज अ प्रॉक्टर बेस्ड ऑन ऑनलाइन एग्जाम, तो आपका पूरा एरिया वो चेक करते हैं वेयर यू आर सिटिंग और फ्रॉम वेयर यू आर गिविंग द एग्जाम. वॉल्स एंड देन सीलिंग सब कुछ चेक करते हैं. लाइटिंग एंड इफ यू योर टेबल का साइड का एरिया वगैरह पूरा चेक करते हैं. और that's the first time check, and after that also the proctor will ask you to show the entire room area after 1 hour या फिर बीच बीच में कहीं कभी भी बोल सकता है. Okay, so make sure you are sitting in a very quiet place and clean area, clean space में आप बैठे हो, so आपको ज़्यादा problem नहीं आएगा. And if you face any difficulties like आपका exam disconnect हो जाता है या फिर your exam portal is not working, आपका जो environment है वो काम नहीं कर रहा है, you can don't need to panic. You can share the report to the Linux Foundation और वो आपका help कर देते हैं. They will give you one more retake. and you can always take a help from your proctor. Proctor help करेगा आपको. अगर internet का issue होगा, then also you can join again and explain them that there is some internet या फिर light का issue था. They will consider your request. But make sure आपका internet proper चल रहा होगा and you are sitting in a quiet place जहाँ पे disturbance नहीं है. Exam registration कैसे करते हैं? You can go here on the Linux Foundation training portal and do create Linux Foundation account, enroll for the exam, just search for the CKAD, and from portal you can purchase the exam. And before 12 months आप कभी भी दे सकते हो exam. Exam preparation checklist ये कुछ नहीं है. They before exam ये आपको सब कुछ verify कर लेना है. आपका name, exam date वगैरह, जो कैंडिडेट हैंडबुक आता है वो आपको रीड करना है. It's just a information and that's it, right? Taking an exam, rules and policies, ये सब कुछ दिया है इन्होंने अभी. And हाँ, and you will have to appear for that exam. आपका एग्जाम आपको appear करना पड़ेगा even if you are not prepared और आपको लग रहा है कि I am not ready to give the exam, and if you miss the first attempt and you don't appear तो आपको retake नहीं मिलता. So even if you are not prepared, just go for the exam, try it out, see the environment, get familiar with that environment, CKD का environment, and see, and then if you can come back and take a retake after some time. Okay. हाँ, एक PSI सिक्योर ब्राउजर करके आता है, वो आपको इंस्टॉल करने के लिए बोलते हैं. ये उनका सॉफ्टवेयर है. From using that they monitor your entire exam. Or there is one more thing, they give you extra time if you are from some, if you select that option, एक कोई option आता है, if you are from some different language, non-English language है, then they allow you some extra 50 minutes. तो मुझे सर्च करना पड़ेगा, but while registering you can select that option. Okay, I'll share that thing with you. And the exam scoring, आपको 66% चाहिए for passing. We can check it if there is any change here. For passing, score needed it's 70. अभी change हुआ होगा, 70 score चाहिए. And if you get less marks than that, then you will be eligible for your first retake. एक retake आता है, that you can use it. Okay. हाँ, बस यही चीज़ है. बाकी के tips and tricks I already shared with you. Just don't panic. Yeah, retake होता है. Yes, one retake is available. बट तो रीटेक का मत सोचो, जस्ट गो फॉर इट. हमने बहुत प्रैक्टिस किया, हमने बहुत कुछ सीखा है थ्रू दिस CKAD सीरीज. आई एम श्योर यू विल बी एबल टू क्रैक इट इन वन गो. और जो भी हमने क्वेश्चन अभी देखे, इफ यू आर एबल टू सॉल्व दिस क्वेश्चन जो हमने अभी देखे ना, द लेवल ऑफ डिफिकल्टी इज टफ which questions which we solved, but एग्जाम में थोड़ा आई थिंक थोड़ा इजी वाले क्वेश्चंस आएंगे, इतना बड़ा बड़ा क्वेश्चन नहीं होगा. Okay. Any other questions? हाँ, और 16 to 17 क्वेश्चंस रहते हैं. कुछ क्वेश्चंस बहुत बड़े होंगे, उनको ज़्यादा मार्क्स नहीं होगा. सो यू कैन मार्क दोज क्वेश्चन, कम बैक अगेन एंड सॉल्व दोज इजी क्वेश्चंस जिसमें आपको कॉन्फिडेंस है. This works two ways. Either you can solve all those easy questions and come back for the tough questions back again, or you can you can try to solve the familiar questions first, and the easy wale questions you can solve which are bigger, मतलब जो time taking questions है that you can solve later. Just mark them. And if you get stuck on any questions, don't worry about that. Just mark it and come back later because time is critical. Time is very important for a CKD exam. है ना 17 क्वेश्चंस आपने देखा होगा कि एक क्वेश्चन में दे आर आस्किंग अस टू क्रिएट अ वॉल्यूम परसिस्टेंट वॉल्यूम पीवीसी उसको माउंट करना है सर्विस अकाउंट बनाओ सर्विस अकाउंट को लिए क्लस्टर रोल बनाओ रोल बाइंडिंग करो एंड ऑल्सो ये सारी चीजें एक ही क्वेश्चन में करने के लिए बोलते हैं और मार्क्स होता है 2 या 3 मार्क्स सो यू नीड टू सी कि विच एग्जाम क्वेश्चंस आर can give you the more marks and those questions try to solve those questions before uh, the lengthy questions. Okay. एंड इफ यू प्रैक्टिस अ लॉट तो आपको इतना ज़्यादा डिफिकल्ट नहीं जाएगा प्रैक्टिस करो मेक श्योर यू आर सॉल्विंग दोज ऑल इम्पोर्टेंट 15-16 क्वेश्चन विद इन आर तो जाके आपका एग्जाम में वो क्वेश्चन वो सारे क्वेश्चन 2 आवर्स में सॉल्व होंगे इतना आपका प्रैक्टिस होना चाहिए इम्पेरेटिव कमांड्स के लिए आई गिव यू टू वन क्यूबरनेटिस चिट शीट ये इसका जेरोक्स वगैरह प्रिंट निकाल के यू कैन कीप इट समवेयर न्यू मेटाडोर कोई भी एक ये हैंडी रखो क्यूबरनेटिस सीट सीट और एनी वन यहाँ पे आपको सारे कमेंट्स मिल जाएंगे कि पॉड का गेट कैसे करना है इफ यू वांट टू क्रिएट अ पॉड so how to create a pod how to create a deployment using a imperative commands ये सारी चीजें okay I'll share this 2-3 cheat sheets जो बहुत फेमस है I think not this one दिस वन यू कैन कीप यहाँ पे सारे रिसोर्सेज कहाँ जाए ओके पॉड को गेट कैसे करना है सारे गेट लिस्टिंग रिसोर्सेज डिस्प्लेइंग रिसोर्सेज डिलीटिंग the short names for every resource creating resources applying the changes modifying the resources एक बार एग्जाम से पहले जाने के पहले ये जस्ट रिवाइज कर लेना कैन वी यूज द चीट शीट नो 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 चीट शीट नॉट अलाउड ये तो चीटिंग हो जाएगा ना दिस आई एम शेयरिंग फॉर प्रैक्टिस एक बहुत अच्छा वाला चीट शीट है बट आई एम नॉट फाइंडिंग इट मे बी इट इज फ्रॉम लिनक्स एकेडमी kubernetes ये वाला है क्या या दिस वन ये दिस इज द गुड वन ओके इंटरेक्टिव पॉड क्रिएटिंग डिप्लॉयमेंट क्रिएट करने के लिए यू कैन यूज kubectl क्रिएट डिप्लॉय तो पूरा आपको यामल फाइल नहीं लिखना पड़ेगा यू कैन डायरेक्टली क्रिएट दिस resources using imperative commands I am sharing this one the last one is very important ये एक बार देख just make sure you are saving your time in a CKAD exam और हर बार as I said whenever whatever the questions we have solved every time we um, confirm the solutions as well हमने वो confirm किया है कि वो solutions correct है कि नहीं नाम correct है कि नहीं हाँ we might solve the question correctly but we might be using the wrong cluster या फिर रॉन्ग नेम स्पेस यूज करे होंगे तो हर क्वेश्चन के यहाँ पे आपको वो कमांड देंगे टू स्विच बिटवीन द क्लस्टर्स और बिटवीन डिफरेंट नेम स्पेसेस so make sure while before solving the question you are switching to the namespace या फिर switching to the different cluster and then you are solving the question okay so that is one more tip and अगर आपको उन्होंने YAML फाइल दिया होगा ऑलरेडी make sure you are copying that somewhere as a backup and you do the changes into the backup file या फिर जो ओरिजिनल फाइल होगा उसमें चेंजेस कर लो so that you will have some backup if something goes wrong and you want to go back to the previous file changes जो ओरिजिनल फाइल है then you should have a backup तो ये तो एक फाइल का कॉपी करके रखो कहीं पे in the exam environment okay Yes. Any doubts, any questions about the CKD series Kubernetes related? If not, so this is the end of our CKD series. And yeah, thank you. See you again soon, maybe in some another session. I'll upload this cheat sheet on our channel, our course as well. Services part we covered in one of the session already. Not in detail, but जितना CKD के लिए required था. And we also have created so many projects as well where we created these services. So mm, yeah, it is already covered. Yes, that is enough. I have added one question also for services. So they will ask you to create one service of type cluster IP, expose the port 80 and maps the target port 80, uh, and create a deployment using this file, scale the deployment, and change the service type to the that can be reached from outside the cluster. So आपको node port के लिए change करना है service type from cluster IP to node port and create a temporary pod using BizBox that runs this thing against IP services. So this one you can easily get from here. Kubernetes documentation page are services deployment pod वगैरह create करने का तो आपको अभी पता है कि how to create it, and from here you can get the definition of the service. Everything is here. Okay, they have given us service name MyApp, तो change कर लो MyApp Nginx service को MyApp कर दो, and expose on port 80, expose on port 80, and container port भी दिया है कुछ, expose the container port 80, so target port 80. This is a name port wala type hai, but since we are not creating a name port, you can put the target port as 8080 जो भी दिया है यहाँ पे 80 दिया है तो 80 कर दो. Yeah, and that's it. Yeah, यही आपको कॉन्फ़िगर करना है. And जो भी आप लेबल दोगे inside the pod, same label you need to provide into selector pod. Deployment को तो आपको पता है. Okay. So that's the answer for this services question as well. I already shared the answer. Okay. Um, so thank you guys. Thank you for joining for this CKD session. If you enjoyed the CKD series, please share your reviews on social media and on our group and also on our site, graphic site पे share कर दो. So it will help me a lot, and it will also boost my confidence as well to come up with new series and new content. And if you are not following our channel, YouTube channel को भी follow कर लो, share कर दो थोड़ा. This is our YouTube channel, Learn with Sagar, and इसको थोड़ा सा share कर दो in your network. It will be really helpful for me. Okay, so that's it for now. See you again. Bye. Have a good day, and yeah, take care and all the best for the exam.